watching the Mystical Green Beanie.
Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? I am the Mystical Green Beanie, and welcome to another fully progressive review. Today we're talking about the penultimate episode titled Fool on the Planet, and honestly, I don't have anything clever or interesting to say as a little preamble for the main review, so I'm gonna stop talking and start talking about this episode. I worded that terribly. So, in this next to last episode, we return to the classic prologue style of the series, where we open with Hidomi having a dream. And like all of our other dreams, this is in a completely different art style and setting as the rest of the episode. And in this dream, she's living in this black and white wasteland with medical mechanica factories littered throughout the landscape. And Hidomi explores this place barefoot and comes across a bottle, which she uses as the sternum for a diorama of a human skeleton that she's making. She also steps on a piece of glass, which causes her foot to bleed, but instead of freaking out, she puts the bloody glass on the diorama's face to be used as the second eyeball. I should also point out that there's a boy in this scene who sits next to the diorama who's wearing a construction hat, but the boy gets wiped away once the medical mechanica factories start to steam, and Hidomi wakes up in a pool of water, and she's in full color. Then the dream goes back to being monochrome as she runs on the beach alone, with a smile on her face before waking up. And out of all of the dreams so far, this one, in my opinion, has to be the most dense of all of the dream sequences we've seen, but I'll talk more on that a little later. Anyways, we cut to Haruko, a very pregnant Haruko, who's messing around on top of a giant roller coaster track with some tools, and her Atomisk alert bracelet starts to go off, but as she looks up, she doesn't seem as elated as you would think she would be. We also get a scene with Commander Eyebrows and the creepy boxing guy named Eyepatch, and they have a bit of a meta back and forth on Kanti's body, where Eyebrows comes off as very protective of Kanti, and everyone else just kind of laughs at him, which I find potentially interesting, but the real meat and potatoes of this episode is the school being invited to this amusement park, and all of the couples get a 99% discount. And Mori is begging Marco to come with him so that he can have an excuse to bring his lolly prostitute Aiko with him, but Marco denies this request, which is a good thing too, because apparently the reason this amusement park was practically giving away tickets was because it was a front that was being used by the Bureau of Interstellar Immigration to tap into the NO channels of everybody in the park to attack the medical mechanica facility that was in the town, which, surprise, surprise, didn't work. And Medical Mechanica, after absorbing the attacks from the Bureau's NO-powered superweapon, retaliates instantly. And the big reason why I think they failed is because none of the NO channels that they were tapping into were that strong, which makes me wonder whether or not that's why Haruko desperately wanted Hidomi to go to the park, since her NO channel seems to rival that of Naota's from Season 1. But speaking of which, Ide has had enough of Haruko trying to rope Hidomi into her schemes, and he challenges her to a fight in the pool above the school, which he fails miserably. But I do love that scene, especially the part where he revs up Jinyu's guitar and I Think I Can starts playing in the background. Honestly, that's probably my favorite scene in the show so far. I mean, I'm probably not going to feel the same way this time next week because I'm still really high off this episode, but let me have this. Anyways, after Ide takes the L, Haruko mounts him and tells him that he's just another disappointment, but Ide returns the favor by telling her that she doesn't do anything for him either, which really pisses her off. But before anything else could happen, Hidomi decides to make her way to the pool area to check on Ide, only to see Haruko on top of him, shirtless in the pool, which causes her NO channel to open up and absorb Ide into her being, leaving behind nothing but a gimp suit and the speakers from his jacket. Because like I said earlier, this show is known to be subtle. But Ide communicates with Hidomi through his gimp suit speakers, and he tells her that he needs water, and she fills that request with the water from the showers, and he floats into space, which causes Hidomi to go into a rage, and she starts to transform into a cyborg-like creature that looks like a halfway job of what she looked like in her first dream sequence when she fought those medical mechanica facilities. Meanwhile, Gimpsuit Ide is taken aboard the Immigration Control Center space station, where he gets eaten by a dog like Kanti. I think. Anyways, the episode ends with Haruko being confronted by Hidomi, demanding that he be brought back to her, and she dresses down Haruko by telling her that she's just like every other woman in the galaxy. She's just a girl who's in love, and this is the last scene that we get before we see the arrival of Atomisk. So, wow, yeah, this is probably the most dense episode this season so far, but the first thing I want to talk about is Hidomi's dream, because quite frankly, I'm still puzzled by this one. I mean, I get that the boy in the construction hat is supposed to be Ide, and he's being blown away by Medical Mechanica, and that probably has something to do with Hidomi being so closely linked to Medical Mechanica and him being transformed into a gimp suit, or dying, we don't know. But what I'm still puzzled about is why the sense of clarity in full Technicolor afterwards? And why after that did the dream revert back to being monochrome? Fascinating stuff, but I'm sure I'll have it all figured out, ish, after I've had some time to sit with it. Also, I like the imagery of the glass cutting Hidomi's foot in the dream, because if that diorama is supposed to represent Ide, then what I interpret that scene as is Hidomi recognizing that even though it could have been brushed off as trash beneath her feet, he was sharp enough to catch her off guard, and she accepts him for that by using that piece of glass as the diorama's eye. And speaking of Ide, I loved the scene with him and Haruko, where he tells her that she's wrong in thinking that she can satisfy him. Because Haruko is going off the logic that all teenage boys are into the same basic stuff. But Ide isn't one of those boys. He's into the kinky BDSM stuff that Hidomi's into, which is why he transforms into a gimp suit after he gets absorbed into Hidomi's brain. And that also leads into my next point about Hidomi and her Ino channel being as strong as it is, because Haruko seemingly made a calculated effort to get Hidomi to go to the amusement park because she probably knew that it was run by the immigration guys who were going to attack Medical Mechanica. And after all, Medical Mechanica is one of the only facilities known to us to successfully imprison Atomisk. So maybe she wanted Hidomi's abnormally high NO flow to help them destroy the facility. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. Some other things that caught my eye were the obviously very knocked up Haruko, which I've seen a lot of people theorize is Ide's baby, because she makes a lot of references to teaching him things, and even earlier in the series, his mother makes jokes about him bringing home another girl, which in that case was Hidomi, and that's a really solid theory, but I honestly just think it's Jinyu who's trapped in there. We also see Hidomi's mother closing up the cafe, and she's moving on from waiting for her father, and honestly, I don't really know what to make of this right now, because we don't dwell on that scene long enough for me to gauge anything, but I was really fascinated at how Hidomi reacted to her mother's decision with hostility. But yeah guys, I love this episode a lot, and can I just say, major props to the lead animator for this episode. The animation style was very rough and distinct, and it matched the sketchy tone of the episode very well. I also love the animation for the dream sequence prologue. I thought that was beautiful, and was it just me, or did the Pillows remaster I Think I Can? Because it sounded a little different in that scene with Ide and Haruko than it usually does. Anyways, I love the episode, but what about you? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button, share, support the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, all you have to do is subscribe. I'm the Mystical Green Beanie. Thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.